2025. Welcome to my 2024 favorites. This is the first time I will ever be doing a favorites video. I'm super excited about it because I've watched a couple of these and I just think they're super fun videos to look at what someone considers to be their favorites of the year. I do feel like I'm the type of person who doesn't know how to pick a favorite per se, so you're gonna have to excuse the length of this video. It's probably gonna be a little bit long, but I will try my best. First thing on the 2024 favorites has to be cozy hobbies. I'm gonna start off with coloring. I got really into coloring this year. I looked back at my TikToks and saw that I got my first, I think, Bobby Goods coloring book at the end of 2023. And then I bought new coloring pencils at the beginning of 2024. And somewhere in the middle-ish to the end of the year, Coloring Talk started showing up on my feed more and more. So I was really into what all of the coloring girlies were doing and then all of the new coloring books, and it's really starting to take off on social media. And I'm a sucker for these types of things. So I went ahead and started collecting coloring books, and I finally actually started coloring inside coloring books, and it's been very relaxing. I even made, which I will link up top, I even made a whole, it's like a craft cart, hobby cart, but it's mainly just for coloring. It has coloring books on it and coloring supplies and all types of art supplies, mainly for coloring. And that replaced my book cart, and I put those books back onto a shelf. So coloring has been a top cozy hobby for me this year, and I'm not mad about it. It's really bringing me back to my childhood of liking art and drawing and things like that. I would love to start actually doing drawings again. I haven't done that in a really long time. I think the last time I did a drawing, I was probably in college, and I was drawing pictures of my favorite idols. They weren't great, but I probably couldn't do anything as well as I did then. The next hobby has to be gaming. I feel like I'm really casual with my gaming. I'll hear about a new game that sounds like it piques my interest, and then I will go ahead and purchase that and play it. I may not finish the game, but usually because I don't play a lot of them, I end up finishing the game. So the one that I finished recently was Snufkin. Oh my gosh, it was so whimsical and like peaceful, and it's a video game about one of the characters in Moomin. He goes off on his winter journey because the Moomins have to hibernate. He comes back and he finds out there are all these signs throughout nature, and Snufkin is an advocate for nature, so this really upsets him, and the whole game is about you getting rid of the signs and figuring out who's disrupting nature and to find your friend Moomin Troll. It is so cute, it's so whimsical, and it's really low stress, not a lot of high stakes. Every once in a while there is like a it's kind of hide and seek from the guards type games. Those stress me out just a little bit, and when you have to like run from a character that you think is dangerous but actually isn't. But compared to other video games, very low stress, and I love that one. I also played Mail Time this year, I believe. I think I actually started Mail Time at the beginning of the year during another one of my winter breaks. So I finished it the day I started it. Mail Time is pretty short if you like really speed through it. And then I've also played Princess Peach this year. I was lucky enough to do a collaboration with Nintendo for that one. My video didn't like take off or anything, but the game is really fun and cute. They sent me some merchandise for it. I ended up giving a lot of it away because I wouldn't really use it, and they didn't ask for my size, so I didn't fit into the clothes. But super grateful to have done that at all, and that they even thought to contact me. And there's probably a few other cozy games, but yeah, I don't play as many as I would like. I did pick up Mario and Luigi Brothership during Black Friday. It wasn't on sale, but we were at GameStop. I picked it up. I also got like a white little handle controller for my my Joy-Cons finally. So we did that, and yeah, I would like to do more cozy gaming in 2025. I really feel like there are more games out there for me to play, and I haven't given myself enough time to delve into them, but I enjoy that hobby as well. So another one I would like to grow in. And I think the last hobby is definitely going to be reading. It's my biggest hobby, it's my main focus. I read either 126 or 136 books in 2024. I think it's 126. I've read more in the year. That's not my highest number. I would like to read 150 this year, but I don't like to set actual goals for myself, because if I do, then reading becomes stressful, and I'm not reading to stress myself out, I'm reading to relax. So if I don't ever make the goal, it's nothing to stress about, because there wasn't really a goal to begin with for me. I always set my goal to one book for the year, because then I will have already immediately have passed that goal by day 2. I've already read a manga in 2025, so I have already done my goal for the year, and that is totally fine with me. But I read a lot of good books this year, and my next category is going to be my favorite books of 2024. I'm going to start with All the Hidden Paths by Foz Meadows. All the Hidden Paths by Foz Meadows was I think my first read of 2024. It's a sequel to A Strange and Stubborn Endurance, and what beautiful books these are. They're high fantasy, political intrigue romances, and I just adore them. They're also and it's arranged marriage. One of our heroes is coming from a society that's very closed-minded, and arranged marriage is very common, and queer relationships are frowned upon. But the other society, which borders this first one, is very open-minded, and there are plenty of same-sex couples, and they don't think it's strange at all. But these two nations are neighboring each other, they have bad relations, and they're often trying to make alliances with each other so that the nations can heal and there's less war and battles. So this particular story takes place with these two, with our first hero, who is, I believe, the third son. He's kind of more than a spare, and he thinks that he's going to live out his life kind of just being a louse and just kind of, slouching around, not doing too much. He doesn't really have to serve his father's needs, but his father does do an arranged marriage with him to strengthen the borders of his land. And at first it's to she's not a princess, but she is a noble's daughter. So first it's to a woman, and then the messenger that comes to get him finds out that he's into men, and they change it to her brother. Once he gets to this new foreign land, he's been disowned by his father officially, so he's never welcome back in his home country, but he's now going to marry the lord of this new land and across the border. And it's their very slow but very sweet romance, but also friendship first. And there is a heck of a lot of political intrigue in this. Like, you really have to pay attention to a lot of the political goings on in the first book to understand the second book. I made sure I reread the first book before I read the second book, because there are a lot of characters in this series. There are a lot of terms that you need to learn, and the political system, the magic system, the two worlds, they are very distinct. So I recommend reading them back to back. But what a beautiful story, and I need book 3. I adore this author, and I need them to come out with more. Also, Foz Meadows is a trans masc author, so if you're looking for an own voices read, there's that one. Next is the Goliaths of Wrestling series by Lily Mayne. This was a sleeper series for me, because the first book, which I am also surprised I went back to look to see when I read the first book. I read all 4 books in the series this year, and I think the first book, she may have published it in 2024. If she published all of these in 2024, kudos, because they're like 500-page books. But the first book is kind of funny, quirky. It's not my favorite in the series. It's cute. I really liked it. The first book is about the owner of the Goliaths Wrestling Company and a human that works a few stories above him. This human wanders down to the basement of this office building, not knowing that monsters and other paranormal creatures exist. And the assistant to this wrestling manager, he's like a young fairy who doesn't pay attention a lot and mistakenly brings this human into this paranormal wrestling ring. And now they have to figure out what to do, because humans are not supposed to know the existence of monsters and paranormal beings, and they have to get a guy to erase his memory, but that doesn't work out. And then they have a romance together once he kind of swears to keep his mouth shut about both the wrestling company and these paranormals. And then the other 3 books in the series are all amazing. Like, the first one was cute and funny and quirky, but the other 3 books, oh my god. The last book, which is the last book, False Comeback, has me in an absolute chokehold. I read it, and then I've been rereading it slowly for the past couple of days because I loved it so much. So this is a little bit spoilery if you do intend to read the series, but this 4th book is about Vince, who is a ghoul, and Crossbody, who is a Fae Prince. We do get a little bit of mention of Crossbody in the first couple of books. Vince has way more of a feature in the third book as a friend to Dallahan Dan, whose book is also the third book. But they don't like each other. At the end of the third book, we see that they both have this explosive fight. They are literally yelling at each other in the dressing room, and Corey, who's kind of like the leader of these wrestlers, decides to call a company meeting. This meeting excludes the manager of the company, and it's just wrestlers. So no boss, just employees. And in front of all of the employees, they have to essentially address why they hate each other so much, what they're fighting about. And Corey's ruling is that they can't talk to each other. So book 4 starts with them having this ruling where they can't speak to each other, and they really don't know how to act because they have so much disdain for each other and they really feel like the other person is in the wrong, and they don't know how to navigate that without needling the other person because they're so used to like picking at each other. And their progression from really not liking each other to explosive, sexual attraction to being really, really tender with each other was amazing. I'm still thinking about it. This is a really, really good book. It also is probably very much my cup of tea because I found in the last year that I really like degradation, and I really like when the characters become super soft for their partner, even though they're seen as like the really, really rigid, really unapproachable, really harsh character, and they're just like super soft on the inside, and their partner, who may be even more rough than them, brings out that soft side that they didn't know that they had. And that really is what Crossbody and Vince are. Vince is more rough and Crossbody is really refined, but there's a part in the book where you really start to see that Crossbody is actually a marshmallow who has this wall up that he didn't intend to put there because he actually really wanted to make friends, but because of the way he was raised in his kingdom, he's been rubbing people the wrong way for the past 60 years. So, such a good book. I don't think I gave away too much really of the story. You really have to read it, and you have to read them all in order because the couples really bleed into each other. Book 2 was my first 5 stars in the series. I think I also gave book 3 5 stars. And of course I gave 4, the one I just talked about, 5 stars. It was amazing. Lily Mayne has become a new favorite of mine this year. I have read other books by her Monstrous series, but it's a really dark series, and I have to be in a right mindset for that type of book. And the problem is I'm often not, so I don't know when I'll get back to it, but yeah, love her books so much right now. If you know me, you know that I really, really, really like the Perfectly Imperfect Pixie series, and I read the Perfectly Peculiar Pixie this year. That's the final book in the series, and while I do love the first book the best in the series, this was just a phenomenal finale. I felt like all of the couples from the previous books really had a great interaction in this book. Even the book with the zombie and the fairy soldier, amazing in this last book. I love them even more in this one. I didn't feel like their book was my favorite in the series, but in this last one I liked it a lot. If I really tell you the couple for the 5th book, it really ruins it, but I will say it was just a really good finale, so that was another favorite. In This Shadow Longing by Marina Vivancos is another book in her Coven Ties series. This is a part of her Dom Sub series, and this is such a uncommon trope. I've been told that it's really popular in fan fiction, but I don't read fan fiction. I've only ever seen it in manga, so seeing it in novels now was really exciting. And this one is about an alpha who has not been seeing, and if you're not seeing with your partner, then you become like viscerally ill. He's been losing weight, losing his appetite. He hasn't been interacting with his friends as much, and they've been noticing, so they get really concerned, and they essentially hire a sub for hire who interacts with doms, and then it helps them heal. So they essentially got a professional sub for him, and it's their romance together. This is just sweet. Marina Vivanko's books are always about healing and making sure that the characters who have been deeply hurt really work through their trauma through therapy, and she just really likes to have her characters heal. And I really appreciate that in her stories because first off, they're very diverse. All of her characters are black and brown, and if there's like an occasional white character, but I really appreciate the black and brown people healing stories. So just anything she writes will be a favorite for me of the year. So there's that. Reluctantly You by Cora Rose is similar to False Comeback by Lily Mayne for me. The tropes are very similar. So Reluctantly You is part of a spin-off series. In the original series, there's a book called Sim, which is one of her most popular books. And the younger brother marries Sim. I think his name's Maximus. In this spin-off series, Maximus's brothers have disowned him, and then they're slowly realizing that they've made a horrible mistake, and they're trying to get back into his good graces. But while they're doing that, they discover that they themselves also like men. So it's like they're all homophobic, but then they discover that they were actually all gay. And if this is triggering to you, I would definitely check the trigger warnings because these could be very triggering. I know that the concept behind it is not great, but the way that she wrote these stories, they were all really sweet. The first two at least were really sweet. This last one, Reluctantly You, was heart-wrenching, it was tender, it was sweet, it had me in knots for days, actually weeks. I was really thinking about this story a lot. So this last one is about the oldest brother out of the four. He has been with his dad the most since he's the oldest, and he's also suffered the verbal and mental abuse of his father, who's a really closed-minded alpha type man. And his dad doesn't show him a lot of love at all. So in the start of this book, the three brothers have basically excommunicated him. He doesn't know why they have excommunicated him, but he's slowly discovering that they have all gone off and married men, and he feels very excluded that he didn't know that they got married in the first place. But you see how angry he is with not only his brothers, but his dad himself. He doesn't go into work for a week or two, and then when he finally returns to work, he finds out that his dad has sold the company from under his feet. This is a problem because he was told his whole life that he would inherit the company, and now it has been sold to someone else, so he will not be inheriting the company. He didn't even want to work this type of job, but he did it because his dad told him to. So essentially, the world is crumbling beneath him as the book starts. When you get to the part where he is meeting his new boss absolutely hates his guts because he hates the main character's father, who's complete trash. And he thinks that the son is just like him. Well, he's not really doing much to convince this new boss that he's any different. He doesn't really write his reports really well. He doesn't show up to meetings. He doesn't respond to his calls. And this new boss is like, well, he's just trash like his dad, just like I thought. But then as we're following our main character, he is truly depressed. He doesn't show up to work again, and he's very despondent. His new boss comes to his house against HR's better judgment, saying that he shouldn't use the address, but he goes anyways. And he finds our main character just laid out on the couch with a cat, a small orange cat, not responding, not talking. He isn't like strung out, but he's just distant. And this kind of starts their relationship where the boss is slowly starting to see why our main character is the way that he is, why he is so angry, why he pushes people away, the fact that he has nobody to support him. His brothers don't talk to him. He doesn't have friends. His parents have excommunicated him. He has absolutely no one. And I think what made this book so good, what Cora Rose did here, is that she really showed all the sides to this character and how he became the way that he is. Now, we never excuse his behavior because he was an awful person in those other books. He said a lot of vile things to his brothers. He made them very uncomfortable, and he recognizes that in this book, which is one of the other reasons why he hates himself so much. And I think because she went through those motions, it really made me think about this book a lot, like a lot. I was so hung up on this book that I was like, I need to reread it immediately. And I did. And I give it 5 stars again. It's so good. It's so good. I think about this one often. The False Comeback by Lily Mayne and Reluctantly You by Cora Rose, these both live in my head rent free, and I'm so glad that I read them both this year. Like, oh my gosh, so good. All right. I am in the middle of rereading this series right now. It is Twisted Shadows by Ali Theron. The first one is called Liar City, and I'm rereading both of these because I forgot what happened in book one and I read the arc without rereading book one. So now I'm trying to connect all those dots that I was a little confused about. But essentially in this universe, there are people who are labeled as empaths. They feel your emotions if they can touch you with their hands. So they can't read you just by looking at you, but through touch, they can read what you're feeling. They also feel what you're feeling as if they are feeling those feelings, which, you know, hence the name empaths. Society is kind of split on how they view empaths in this series. Some people really like them, think that they are harmless, which they are, and then some people think that they are mind readers who should be locked up or have more surveillance on them even more than they currently have. So our main character, Reese, is an empath and his sister is a cop, and he is summoned to crime scene in the first book, which leads him down a series of events with the Dead Man. The Dead Man is an empath specialist, and most empaths think of him as an empath hunter. He shows up whenever empaths need to disappear, they say. That's the rumor. But as the story goes on, you realize that the Dead Man is actually there to hopefully protect empaths. He's not really black or white. He really is morally gray in the first book. And there's a lot of really funny banter considering the fact that the Dead Man shows absolutely no emotions. And he has a really great Texas accent. You should listen to the audiobook for this one. What a unique and really different series. I've never read anything like it. Everyone should read all of Ali's books because she's criminally underrated. And this is still a romance, by the way, but you don't really get any whiffs of romance truly until book two. The first book you can really kind of see it developing, but it really starts in book two. So it's an extremely slow burning romance and I adored it. Mate Hub Legend by Marie Reynard. What like a left field book for me to read. This book had no business being as good as it was because this was about an AV star, a human AV star and a werewolf getting together. And essentially it's about two AV stars. And you also follow the chat room of fans of this site called Mate Hub. It is a paranormal take on the website you're thinking of. And the chat rooms, first off, are hilarious. It's just people talking about like their favorite actors and who they should pair up with next. And there's this really big werewolf AV star. He is known for bonding with other AV stars and then breaking off the bond. This is an incredibly rare thing because, as we know with bonding for werewolves, they mate for life, but he gets a ritual done by a witch every, was it like 6 months or something, whenever his contract ends with that actor, and he's just trained himself to not feel it. But then he sees this human and his wolf like perks up, and this has never happened to him before, but he's not recognizing the fact that this is a totally different experience for him. And it is just every single trope that I love in a book. And it's fun, it's funny, it's written really well, the pacing is great, and everyone should read it. It's like surprisingly good for how ridiculous the plot is. And I mean that wholeheartedly, like I really love this book. So, Mate Hub Legend, I can't wait to see what this author does. She is not a full-time writer. I think she's an English teacher in Japan, it says in her bio or something. She lives in Japan, I know that much. But yeah, can't wait to see more from her. And the last one I'm just gonna say is Tal Bauer as an author. I need to read more of him in 2025. I read like 4 of his books back to back in the beginning of the year and they were all amazing. The one I think about the most is How to Say I Do. This one is about a wedding planner who is stood up by his fiance very publicly and he's crying in the airport, and then there is a cowboy type character, very burly and manly, who comes over to console him. And this cowboy guy is actually like really kind, and he's really kind, he's openly gay, and he sees this man crying in the airport and goes over to console him, and they end up flying to, I think it's Hawaii together, because the wedding planner I think he's either a wedding or an event planner. He decides to go on his honeymoon anyways because he's already paid for it, and they spend their vacation together. And the first part, it's like either the first third or first half of the book, probably the first third, they have this like amazing vacation romance, and then they have to go home, and the event planner doesn't know how to hold on to this relationship ethically. In his mind, he goes home absolutely miserable. And the story kind of follows him being indecisive of if he wants to pursue this relationship with this cowboy in Texas, or if he wants to pursue this big shot career that he has started to develop in New York. Tal Bauer will have me crying at the end of every single book that he has written. This is no different, and I don't know what he is putting into these books because they all follow the same formula, but I cry every single time. So he's doing something right. So great discovery this year. My friend Sam recommended him, said that I had to read him, and she was right. Definitely a great author to start off 2024 as well. Last one, Enemies with Benefits by N.R. Walker. I technically read this for the first time in 2023, but I reread it in 2024 for the third time. I love Enemies with Benefits because it's the same reason that I love Reluctantly You and False Comeback, where this one is about two boys who grow up rich. One of them has a dad who is like a business mogul, or tyrant rather, and he ends up buying the company of the other boy. So now this boy who's no longer rich really hates the first guy. I think his name is Valentine. Valentine's the rich one. So Valentine is this rich big shot as an adult now. He is a businessman, and the other guy is a construction like foreman, I think. Anyways, Valentine's dad goes in and he buys this company as well that our second character is working at. So it's like it's happened to him twice. That Valentine has come in more than once in his life and like bought out his places of business, and he really blames Valentine for this in the beginning. There's a lot of hate, there's a lot of rage, and he like really hates Valentine in the beginning. He's also hot-headed, and his friends recognize that as well. And for me, I think this is the type of hate to love that I just really vibe with, where the hate burns really hot in the beginning, and then the characters kind of get to know each other in the middle a little bit, and then he realizes like, man, I didn't even really like hate you that much. And then they start to learn a little bit about each other through whatever their circumstances are. In this one, they are enemies with benefits, and he goes over to Valentine's house more and more and more, learns more about Valentine, learns that Valentine doesn't know how to feed himself, that he has anxiety, that he has a lot of self-doubt and things like that, and he develops this like really soft spot for Valentine. And then he becomes like obsessed, not in a stalkery way, but like this is my person and no one else can have my person. And that is my absolute crack, and I love it to pieces. Everyone should read this book. It's so good. It's so good. N.R. Walker does really sweet romances, and this is probably, I would say it probably is my favorite book by her. Probably. There's a lot of books that I reread by her, so this one might be like the top one. But yeah, that's it for books for 2024. Next, I'm gonna do movies. All right, so let's start talking about TV shows and movies that I really loved in 2024. First, I watched season 2 of Good Omens. I'm a huge fan of Good Omens. I felt like season 2 was a pretty good addition. It's not an official plot point for the books because the book, it had one volume, and I believe Terry Pratchett passed before he could ever write the second book with Neil Gaiman. But Neil Gaiman produces or directs Good Omens, so whatever he did in the second one feels canon to me. I really liked the progression between Aziraphale and Crowley, and just everything that they added. I thought it was a good second season. Now, stuff has come out about Neil Gaiman not being the best human. So I heard that they won't be doing a season 3. They might be doing like a special to wrap it up or something, which makes me really upset because I love this story and I love those characters. Yeah. It just really sucks when people have to be vile humans and they mess up the things that you like. But I enjoyed that series. If the show comes out on Blu-ray, I will buy it. I just like to have physical media, as we know. Next is the Cherry Magic anime. I watched this as it was airing. I just couldn't help myself. I couldn't wait until it was finished. Airing to binge the entire thing. I had to watch it as it was airing, and it was really, really good. a little rushed at the end, and I think that's because they had the set amount of episodes that they had. There are 13 volumes in the manga, and to have 12 episodes, you're gonna have to like squeeze some things in. So they did what they could. I know that BL anime does not get, you know, the extensive amount of episodes we would like, but the manga is good on its own. So if you feel like there's parts of the anime that were incomplete, definitely go read the manga. Each volume is actually pretty short for a manga. They're like really slim on my shelf. But yeah, I enjoyed the anime. Again, I would buy the Blu-ray if they release it. I hope they release it because I do own the movie and the TV show on Blu-ray as well. Thankfully, they did put subtitles onto this Japanese TV show, which is really uncommon for Japanese television to be released with English subtitles from Japan. If things are released in America, of course, they'll add the subtitles, but if you're buying it directly from Japan, it's really uncommon for them to include subtitles. So that was really exciting when I found that out, and I rewatch it all the time. And I think I will do it with the anime as well if, you know, they give me my physical release. I did watch A Sign of Affection this year. This has been the year of shoujo anime. Like, it's the shoujo anime renaissance. We have not had enough shoujo and female forward animes in a while. It was kind of like a drought for a long time, and I was kind of getting disinterested in anime because of that. I will watch like a comedy anime every once in a while. I don't need everything to be a romance for anime, but I need a girly show every now and again. So now that we're getting all of these like girly shows again, I'm really excited. So A Sign of Affection is about a college student who is deaf, and she doesn't have a lot of friends, but she has a good group of friends. She's just a little bit closed off because she doesn't have the best of communication skills outside of using her cell phone and signing to people who understand her signs. She has a childhood kind of friend, not really. He bullies her more than he is a friend to her, who learns sign language for her so she can sign with him, but she doesn't really talk to him like that. He just kind of uses sign to bully her. And then there is a guy who's like the popular guy on campus who learns all these languages like English and German and everything else under the sun. And he's always traveling, and he decides he wants to learn sign languages. He decides that he wants to learn sign language as well because he is a polyglot. So he can communicate with her better. And they grow a friendship, which quickly becomes an actual relationship. He's pretty open and forward, and he's kind of odd and strange, but also he's really kind. And it was just a really lovely anime. There wasn't a lot of that like girl on girl drama in this one. It was just like a straightforward romance between her and like the popular boy. And it was sweet and cute, and I really liked it. I would rewatch it. It was really sweet. Next, I watched Buddy Daddies. This one is kind of like if Spy Family was kind of gay, sort of. It's instead of it being what is it, Lloyd and I forget the woman's name, Tor? I don't know. Instead of it being like the male spy and the female spy, it's two male assassins who team up often. They find this girl on one of their missions and they decide to raise her together. They just feel obligated for some reason, and they want to make sure that she has a good life, and they enroll her in school, buy her clothes, go to all of her PTO meetings, go to all of her events, and they really do become like her dads, and they don't explain their relationship to anybody at the school. People are just making their own assumptions. It was funny. It was a lot of fun. I would rewatch this one if anyone ever suggested it. It deserved a little bit more hype. I think it was actually a really solid anime. All right, next, Mashle Season 2. This one is kind of like if Harry Potter was an anime, I guess, and if Harry was really stupid and had no magic. So our main character, Mashle, he's kind of like Rock Lee from Naruto. Has no magical ability, but he exercises every single day, keeps up with his routine. Also kind of like One Punch Man. And he's become so strong that he can compensate for not having magic with his physical strength. It overcomes a lot of the magic in the show, and people are always mystified by how much he can overcome with his just physical strength, essentially. Again, Mashle's really stupid, so I think that also kind of lends to the fact that he's in a lot of dangerous situations, but he's too stupid to comprehend them. And it's just funny. It's funny. and it's lighthearted and it's fun, and there's a lot of references to Harry Potter that it makes you wonder how they got away with like not licensing some of this. But yeah, a great show, and I can't wait to watch season 3 whenever they come out with that one. Tadaima o Kairi, what a cute anime, and the fact that we have an Omegaverse anime in 2024, amazing. Never been an Omegaverse anime that I know of, and we need more of them because it's such a big genre in manga, but hasn't been brought to the anime front as much as it should be. I feel like this is an interesting one to choose as their first Omegaverse one, but the dynamic in this one is really interesting because Omegas are supposed to stick with Omegas and Alphas are supposed to stick with Alphas, but this family is really different because they're fated mates and one is an Alpha and one's an Omega and they have kids together. In Omegaverse, it is really common for Alphas and Omegas to pair up. In fact, that's kind of like the golden pairing. But in this one, they kind of challenge that. What are the pairings supposed to be, and so on and so forth. And you just kind of go through them with their like young family life and how society views them and the anxiety of being an Omega who is married and bonded to an Alpha, what he feels like with that. And it's just really well done. And I want to read the manga because I feel like there's probably more to the story with the Alpha best friend and the Beta shut-in neighbor. I want to see more of their relationship. So that was really good. I hope they do more Omegaverse. I really do. My Clueless Best Friend, this was a surprise for me. I randomly picked this up because I remembered it had a preview of it, and then I saw that it was complete, and I binged this from start to finish. This is such a cute and also hilarious, like chibi styled anime where it's about a girl who is kind of isolated from her class. People think that she's scary, and because they think she's scary, they call her the Grim Reaper. And this new boy transfers into her class, sees that everyone's calling her the Grim Reaper, and he thinks she is the best thing since sliced bread. He wants to be a Grim Reaper like she's a Grim Reaper, and he has so much enthusiasm that people can't compete with his enthusiasm. They are thrown off guard by how much he thinks that she is cool. So even though they continue to kind of bully her a little bit, they kind of let up on it because this new kid is so positive in his like for her and how much he wants to be a Grim Reaper, how much he wants to hang out with this class pariah, essentially, that she no longer becomes a pariah, and everyone starts talking to her and her life becomes so much better, but they also become like the best of friends. There's a little bit of like a blossoming of romance or romance undertones to it, but overall it's very sweet. Next is Taisho Otome Fairy Tale. This one, I feel like y'all really failed me with this one because it's a shoujo that aired not too long ago, but I heard absolutely no one talk about it. So this one is about a boy who is kind of exiled from his family because he got into a wagon accident with his mom and completely lost the use of his right arm. And because he lost the use of his right arm, I guess that makes him like unusable as an heir. I have no idea, but he's been exiled to the family's vacation home. His father doesn't respond to his letters, but what his father did do, he sent out a young girl who's close to him in age from a noble family who is indebted to him. So her family is on hard times, but she agrees to be his bride essentially. So they live together in this vacation home up in the mountains, and she cooks and cleans and does all his chores, and he's really prickly, as shoujo male leads often are in the beginning, and she's really bubbly, as shoujo female leads often are in the beginning. And it's just really cute and sweet. He opens up to her pretty early on in the beginning, and you start to see that the village that he is living in, the people don't really like him very much because he's from this noble family, and they pity her because they think that he's being really mean to her, even though he's not. He's being actually pretty civil and quite kind for him. He's prickly in the beginning, but he's polite. At the very least, he's polite to her, and that politeness never goes away, and it grows into something more. This is a cute little romance. It's really sweet. I enjoy this one. More people should talk about it, please. All right, and that's it for TV shows. Let's move on to my favorite DVD and Blu-ray pickups. I didn't pick up a lot Well, I think I picked up more this year than I did last year, but DVD and Blu-ray pickups don't necessarily mean that I watched them this year, but I just bought them this year. So first one is going to have to be the Rugrats Complete series and the movies. I recently found all 3 movies in a Walmart $5 bin. I was ecstatic to find that out. I haven't seen a Walmart $5 bin in years in my area, so I rummaged through that entire section. I think I was there for a good 15 minutes and people were definitely staring because who buys DVDs anymore, you know? Like an old woman in a wheelchair rolled up with her nephew or grandson or whatever. They looked at like 2 movies and then left, and then I was just there continuing to rummage throughout the entire bin because it's very, very unorganized. But I found that little gem and I was very ecstatic. I bought the Rugrats Complete series on Black Friday, and I've actually watched a few episodes on it since, and it is actually so funny to watch as an adult. Such a good show. Glad I picked it up. Then we have Scooby-Doo in the Ghoul School. This is my favorite Scooby-Doo movie. I rewatch it quite often. When I went back to school for a little bit, I did watch it while I was doing homework. It's just like a really comforting movie. It's super simple. Shaggy, Scooby, and Scrappy-Doo go to this school for girls, but they're all ghouls. And then he is like their gym instructor or something like that. And it's just a fun time. And they do competitions with the boys' school right across the street, and they're like a military school. And it's just funny, quirky, and corny. Then there's The Reluctant Werewolf. I picked that one up this year as well. I haven't rewatched that one yet, but I remember in this one, Shaggy randomly has a girlfriend. I don't really know the lore behind that, but Scrappy's still in there, and Scooby, of course, is in that one as well. None of the rest of the gang are in these movies. There was just randomly a few movies where it was just Shaggy, Scooby, and Scrappy-Doo, and I don't know why. But I really like those. Those are some of my favorite Scooby-Doo movies. So I picked up those 2, and then I picked up a pup named Scooby-Doo, the entire series. So the first season was $4 on Black Friday on Amazon. Super ecstatic about that. And then I couldn't find the other seasons until I went on to Mercari, and someone was selling it for $15, and it has the second, third, and fourth season on that set. So was really excited about that one. And then it's available on Amazon again. So if you would like to pick it up, both of those DVDs are on Amazon. The next thing I was really excited to pick up was the Hi Jets concert for this year called Boost. I have not watched it yet, but I was super excited because this year they finally released their concert in Blu-ray. So last year and the years prior, it was only available in DVD, and concerts on DVD are fine, but I would like to watch my concerts on the big screen, and DVDs are low res, they're like 480p. And I feel like the concerts that are mixed on these Johnny's DVDs aren't mixed very well, or maybe that's just me, maybe I'm overly sensitive, but I've never been satisfied watching a concert on DVD. So as soon as I was able to start buying them in Blu-ray, I only bought them in Blu-ray, and I have quite a few Hey Say Jump concerts on DVD because their company did not release in Blu-ray until like only a few years ago. So most of my Hey Say Jump concerts are in DVD, and that makes me upset. But hopefully from now on, the Hi Jets concerts released in Blu-ray, because I just ordered their newest concert and it was available in Blu-ray, so I'm excited about that. I picked up a couple of animes this year. One of them that I was excited about was Earl and Fairy. That one was only available on DVD as well. It's one of those shoujo animes that I watched way back in high school and I feel like nobody knows about. And this one's about a girl who can see fairies and mystical creatures. I think it's just fairies. And this nobleman who is after something to do with his lineage, but he can't see fairies and he needs her help. And he also wants to marry her because of this ability that she has, but she's resistant the entire season. And it's just really typical older shoujo, lots of sparkles and things like that. And I would rewatch it as an adult. So I got that on DVD. Then I got Homes in Kyoto, which is a detective show based around, there are a lot of detective shows in anime and TV dramas, and I usually really like those. This one's theme is based around antiques. So the main male character is a grad student who specializes in antique appraisals, and the female lead is a high school student, and she wanders into his shop to sell something so she can buy a ticket to go back to Tokyo, I believe, because her family moved to Kyoto out of nowhere and she had to leave all of her friends behind, and she was very upset about that. But then she starts working at this shop and they solve mysteries together. There's a tiny bit of a romance, but it's not too much considering the fact that he's a grad student and she's in high school. But like, I still really enjoyed this one. This one I did not pick up myself. I got it for a Christmas present. It was in my Christmas, what I got for Christmas video, and it's Run with the Wind. I really, really love this anime. It's a really good sports anime about a band of misfits in college who start a running club, and then they go on really far in the competition, unexpectedly surpassing other really good running clubs and things like that. And it's just really, really good. Storytelling's amazing, animation's amazing, some unique characters you don't see in other types of animes. Highly recommended. So that was a great pickup. All right, and that's it for movie pickups. And what I want to also mention is my mini DVD player. So I got a compact DVD player at the end of the year, like honestly, like last month. I got it last month, and the reason I got it is because I don't have an international DVD player anymore. My 4K Blu-ray player only plays region-specific discs from America, and Japanese Blu-rays are in the same region as ours, so I don't have to worry about region codes when it comes to Japanese Blu-rays. But also a lot of the Japanese Blu-rays I buy are now region free, so it doesn't even matter. But my DVDs are all region locked. So instead of buying another Blu-ray player, I decided to get a compact but pretty good region-free DVD player off of Amazon. And this one I think works pretty well. It's not top tier, it's not doing anything, it's definitely cheap, but it's a DVD player, so I think it's doing its job. It's not upscaling, so it's really giving the actual quality of the DVD. Something I'm gonna have to get used to. What I did with this DVD player is I hooked it up to my TV in my cozy hobby room. So now I watch, or I could watch, my concerts that are on DVD in my cozy hobby room, and all of my Blu-rays I can watch on my projector and in my bedroom if I want to do that. I have plenty of places to watch concerts and shows now. Piggybacking off of that, I kind of want to move into an electronics section. So I bought a 65-inch TV from Walmart. It's the On brand, ONN. So it was $298. It's a 4K TV, and it's also a Roku TV. It is, for the price, pretty good quality. It's not top of the line, it's not OLED. I feel like I can see the pixels every now and again depending on what I'm watching, but then I'll like double check to see if what I'm watching is also really crisp on my other screens, and it's not. So if the video is crisp, it looks nice on the TV. If it's pixelated, it really shows how pixelated it is on such a big screen in this tiny room. But I really enjoy the experience of having such a large TV to myself. Now I do have my projector in my bedroom, so I've experienced a large screen. I think a large TV and a large projector screen are a little bit different in the experience, but yeah, I've enjoyed it. I'm super excited about it. The TV is hooked up, I'm looking at it right now, which is why I keep pointing and going back and forth. It's hooked up to my Logitech Z623 speakers. So I now have 3 different types of Logitech speakers. I just really trust the Logitech brand for speakers because I've been using them for so long. I started off with my very first projector setup with the really cheap Logitechs, and then I moved up to the ones that are currently on my desk. And then I got that really, beefy setup with the Z906 that's in my room right now. And I just continue to buy Logitech speakers. These are all technically computer speakers, but they work with TVs, so I've just been using them that way. The ones hooked up to the On TV do not have a remote like the one in my bedroom. You just have to turn on the speakers, like you have to walk up to them and turn them on. And then I just use my Roku remote for the TV speaker itself, and I use that to toggle the volume. And then it just works out. And so now I only have 2 remotes, which is the DVD player and the TV remote, and that's pretty good for this. So I'm super excited about that. That was definitely a purchase that I don't regret. Only thing that makes me sad is that now I was planning on getting this really beautiful bookshelves from Target, the ones that I've seen a lot of people get. They have the rounded edges, and I've seen them in both Sweet Hime and Cozy K's or Kennedy's setups. I saw it in Kennedy's videos first, and they're so beautiful. They're expensive, but they're so beautiful. And I was gonna get rid of my Walmart shelves and then just get this one shelf because it would be long enough to fill in the space, but it would be much more solid wood than what I have because these are pretty flimsy. They're deep though, which is what's nice about these Walmart shelves. They're too tall now because of how big the TV is. The TV comes down too far for me to have the 5-tier shelf, and there's no 4-tier, there's only a 3-tier, and the 3's too low. So that's made me sad. I'll have to stick with these until I find something else to eventually replace them, something more sturdy. But for now, we're just keeping the setup as it is, and I enjoy it. All right, next, e-readers. My Kindle Scribe and my Kindle Matcha have been my favorite e-readers of this year. I bought my Kindle Scribe a few years ago, but I have been reading on it like crazy this year. Definitely a favorite. If you know me, I use the Scribe mainly for reading manga. I read on it just yesterday, to read a new manga, and in my newly decluttered and clean cozy hobby room, and it was amazing. And then I take my Kindle Matcha with me everywhere. I actually took it to Disney. It was my purse Kindle, and it was so great to just have with me while I was in line waiting for rides. So those are definitely both of my favorites. All right, let's move on to my favorite YouTube channels. First, I would like to say that YouTube Premium is definitely a favorite. Whenever I'm watching YouTube with my brother or my friends, they don't have YouTube Premium, and if we use their accounts, I immediately realize how many ads YouTube actually has. So I don't experience that because I have YouTube Premium, and I forget the amount of ads that people are putting up with to watch YouTube, which would make me very frustrated with the platform because there are actually quite a few ads, it seems like, on YouTube recently, and I will not put up with that. I watch mainly on TVs, so you know, if you're gonna say get an ad blocker or whatever, I'm not doing that because then that also takes money away from the creators. I just pay for YouTube Premium and it's worth every penny. This is a subscription that I actually believe in. Ads unfortunately do run platforms. It does pay for websites to stay open, so I'm gonna go ahead and pay that subscription. This one makes sense for me. All right, at the top of the list of favorite YouTubers for the year, and by the way, this is just people that I watched their video as soon as it came out. Doesn't mean that there weren't other people that I watched this year that I loved, but these were just, I have all the bell notifications on these people. Cozy K, top of the list. I love her videos. I love her content. She is cozy incarnate. I love her style. Her brand of coziness, the fact that she has embraced the color brown as her favorite color. I didn't even know that was an option until I started watching her. I just love everything about her channel, and she has slowly been morphing her channel from just being a gaming channel into this all-encompassing vlogging lifestyle channel. She's doing her moving series right now, which I'm super excited for. Can't wait to see more about her new house content. Love Kennedy. And we're also mutuals on Instagram and TikTok, which to me is super exciting because whenever you really like a creator and they follow you back, it's just an amazing feeling. Next creator is going to be Patricia Sucks. This is another Black creator who I'm also mutuals with. I love Patricia's channel. She does a lot of recently travel vlogs. She's based out of Atlanta, and she does a lot of vlogs with her and her boyfriend, Atlanta living, unboxing blind boxes. I just really like her vibe and the fact that we share a lot of the same interests. She likes going to Asian food restaurants. She likes manga. She likes dramas. I mean, just a lot of things that I am interested in. She is also interested in and showcases on her channel. And yeah, I love her vibe and I love what she's got going, and her channel is quickly growing as it should be. She's getting the recognition she deserves, so I'm super happy for her with that. Next is Books with Samantha. Samantha is my best friend. I watch basically every single video she puts out. It feels like you're on a FaceTime call when you watch her videos. She knows how to talk to a camera. It just feels like she's talking to you over FaceTime in every single video. She's one of those channels that like got me through the pandemic. You know, before we were friends, I would watch her channel and just feel like this is such a fun channel, such a fun person, and I was right. So if you need a new booktuber to watch, please watch her channel. She just has such a cozy little channel, and I think she is doing amazing things over there, has great recs, the whole shebang. If you're looking for someone to recommend more sapphic books, she is your girl. Next is Toka no Hibiki. Toka is one of my favorite channels. I've been watching her channel since the beginning of the pandemic, probably before? No, I found her somewhere in the pandemic. And I really liked that her style was very unique from other channels. She starts her channel when I found it, starts off with her living with her parents, and the way she had her room set up was really interesting to me. And since I also have a small bedroom, I felt like I was getting a lot of inspiration from the way that she had her room set up. And just all the fun little things that she was figuring out how to do, getting stuff from the 99 yen store and things like that. So I love Toka's channel. She is an anime fan. She likes video games. She loves to cook. She has written 3 books. I've bought 2 of them to support her channel, even though they're not in English. She says she wants to translate them whenever a publisher hopefully picks it up. But until then, I've supported her and I'm totally fine with having Japanese copies. And overall, I just really like her style. It's just so unique. I've never seen another channel that looks exactly like hers, and I love that. Next is Cups and Thoughts, another mutual of mine. I wonder how many of these people are actually my mutuals on this list, which I didn't even realize, but Cups and Thoughts is an Australian YouTuber, and she does lots of book annotation, gardening content, homebody life things, and she's about to move into a new home with her partner, so hopefully she will give us some moving vlogs, but if not, totally understand. I just really like her content. It's really cozy and just makes you want to snuggle up and super calming. And she lives in Perth, Australia, and I don't know much about Australia outside of what I've read in N.R. Walker books, but I just love her aesthetic. It's really nice. Next was a pretty recent find. I think I found her in the middle of the year, and that's Amaya Lake. I found her from her room makeover video. I love those types of videos, obviously. And Amaya Lake is another Black YouTuber. She does a little bit of vlogging, a little bit of sit down videos, and her personality is just so fun and bubbly. And she recently did a couple of kind of vlogmas, but more like end of the year wintry videos. And in one of them, wintry and fall videos, and one of them she was talking about how she makes TikToks just for herself so she can laugh about it later. She doesn't publish them, they just kind of stay in the drafts, and it's just so that she can have fun. And I thought that that was so cool, because I don't do stuff like that for myself ever. And the fact that there are people out there doing stuff like that for themselves is just amazing. So love Amaya Lake. If you're looking for more people to watch, definitely check out her channel. She's got quite a bit of content, and apparently she grew from 1,000 subscribers to 25 in the year of 2024. So she's doing amazing over there in her channel. This one's going to be a little bit different. The YouTuber Scott Kramer, he is a sort of comedy / commentary channel, and I found him definitely in 2024 randomly. He did a video about using the Wii Fit for, it was either 100 days or 90 days. And it was such an interesting video, and I ended up binging a lot of his channel. Probably not all of it, but a good portion of it. And I just kept watching and watching and watching. And now I watch every single video that he releases. Scott Kramer is located in North Dakota, and I think the part of his charm is the fact that he was born and raised in and still lives in North Dakota. A lot of bigger YouTubers live in New York and LA, and clearly that does not deter me from watching their content. But I feel like with so many people living in so many different places in America, it's kind of a shame that a lot of the content that gets pushed to the front is from people who live in just two different parts of the country, you know, New York and California, and it's like nothing else exists. I like the variety of YouTubers that live in other places. So super into Scott Kramer, and I can't wait to see what he does in 2025. Next is Jayla Abriana. This is another mutual of mine. She has like a really cute coquette type of style to her videos. Everything is really fluffy and light, and I love her editing style. It's just really cute. And I also discovered her from a room makeover video that she did probably last year, maybe the year before. I've been following her channel since the beginning, since she had like 2 videos up, and I've loved everything she's put out, and I'm hoping that she will continue to put out things in 2025. She's been really consistent this year, and I just like seeing her channel grow, and more people should watch her. Just the fact that her videos are so good, I still can't believe that she's not at 100,000 followers. Like genuinely, I can't believe that. All right, next is Benji Plant, another mutual of mine. All right, hi, I'm popping in here as editing me sort of to say that Benji's house was destroyed during the LA fires. I recorded this way before the fires were even announced and before he made an announcement on his social media that he has lost his home. So I feel really bad talking about how much I love his home decor content and how much I like watching him talk about his plants because that has been destroyed. So I'm going to leave his link to his GoFundMe for both him and his neighbors because his whole neighborhood was unfortunately destroyed. One that I can't believe I'm a mutual with. So Benji does plant and home decor content, and I love his home decor content more than his plant content personally. I will watch the plant content just because it's him, but I'm more interested in his home decor content. And I think I found him as well doing a room makeover video. So I find a lot of people doing room makeover videos. And then if I really like what they're doing, I end up just following their channels, and he was one of those. I can't remember when I found his channel, but I've been super dedicated to his channel this year especially. He's been like really consistent this year. His partner Chris as well has started a booktube channel, Chris's Library, and I do pop in and watch those videos as well. Chris is really sweet, also a mutual of his on TikTok, and they're just both really kind people. So love both of their content. Next is a person I wish I could be mutuals with, but it will never happen, is Gizatrix. He is, I forget what country he's located in. I always want to say Kuwait, and I will have to double check that. But he has like the most fall-like dark academia style videos, and the editing is always amazing and cozy, and I love the way that his bedroom looks. It feels like somebody really curated their space. He did, obviously. He really curated his space to show the things that he loves in his bedroom. All the books that he has in there showcase the things that he loves. He's got a ton of Funko Pops, vinyl records, instruments, dark moody colors, you know, toys. It was really curated to show off his personality in the best way. And it's kind of how I got into his Instagram. And then he started a YouTube channel, and it's just an amazing channel, and I watch all the videos. I'm always anticipating his videos, and I wish he uploaded a little bit more, but I know how hard it is to make YouTube videos, clearly. I love everything he does, every single thing that he does. I want more aesthetic male content creators like him. I mean, there are some out there, but there's just not a lot of them who are doing this type of vlogging and aesthetic content put together. Next are Sam and Victor. They are Hong Kong based photographers and vloggers. So they do a lot of travel vlogs. I don't actually watch, well, let's see. I don't watch a lot of channels that are dedicated to travel, but they travel a ton, and I could not imagine traveling as much as they travel, but I love the way that they have curated their videos. Every single vlog looks like a movie, even if they are in some of the most unfamiliar places. So they've been to, that I've watched this year, they've been to Thailand, they've been to South Korea, they've been to Japan, they went to Toronto in Canada. I feel like they went to Bali. I'm pretty sure they went to Bali. They've been back to Japan. They went to Japan a lot this year, it felt like. So I always enjoy those vlogs, of course. But yeah, they go everywhere. They do have a lot of vlogs based in Hong Kong as well, but they've just been traveling a lot this year. And every single vlog is like a really beautiful movie. And I don't know how they are able to capture that, because whenever I'm out, my footage is shaky, and I'm absolutely terrified of pulling out a camera in such crowded spaces that they are pulling out their cameras in clearly. But I admire their style. I love their music choices. Sam edits the vlogs, and I just think she's a great editor. So love Sam and Victor's vlogs. Been addicted to them ever since I discovered them. Next is Sarah Nicole. I have missed her content. I'm sure she's busy with college, but she does weekly vlogs. Usually a lot of them have to do with studying, errands run with friends and things like that. Sarah Nicole is a college student, so she's busy, but I've missed her weekly Saturday vlogs. When we left off with Sarah's vlog, she was really finding her favorite genre to read. So she was definitely more of a fantasy reader than anything else based off of her vlogs. And I just liked seeing her express the way that she liked her books, the different angles she did in her cinematography, the way she picked music, her trying out new activities like golfing and tennis and things like that. I just liked how adventurous she was in her vlogs, doing new things every single weekend, it felt like, but not being extreme about it. I miss her videos. She is another one, but I can't believe her channel didn't just explode with how nice her videos were. All right, the last for just plain vlogger channels is going to be Annika's Leaf. I've watched Annika for a good long time and I watch every single video that she puts out. I never get tired of her. I feel like she is one of the most consistent people that I've been watching for the last couple of years. I admire her dedication to getting the shot. She seems to get bits and pieces of her life that I would never catch on camera because I am quick to press the record button to turn it off. But it seems like she keeps it rolling, and there are so many moments of her life that are captured and she's willing to share with us. In the way that she edits her style, it's really relatable. Her voice is really relatable even in her captions. She's really funny, and she started a business not too long ago, a couple years ago, that's been exploding lately. It's really been fun to watch her grow as a businesswoman as well. So I've been enjoying her content doing that. She's been doing some travel vlogs, going to see her friends and things like that. Always a fun time with Annika. All right, last are going to be two podcasts. I don't watch very many podcasts and I don't listen to them strictly because I feel like with podcasts, people try to make it all audio, but there's always going to be a visual aspect to it. So I just prefer to watch the recordings of them. All right, so I watch two podcasts. One of them is going to be the Sad Boys podcast. This has Jarvis Johnson and Jordan Adika. Both of them are content creators, obviously, but Jarvis, I definitely watch his independent channel. He does comedy commentaries, and then I think Jordan also does some of that. Maybe he streams a little bit more. I have not watched any of his independent content. I think I align more with Jarvis's sense of humor as an independent comedian or commentator more than I do with Jordan, but I like them together because they do what their title of their podcast is about. So the Sad Boys podcast is generally about talking about their feelings and then other things also. That's their tagline. They usually open up the podcast talking about how they're feeling that week, anything that's new that has popped up in their life, and then they get into some like weird TikTok trends that have been happening and they comment on that. And it's just a really funny and easy to listen to podcast. I like both Jarvis and Jordan, and they've also had their crew commenting on the podcast as well. So their producer, a new intern, and the media guy who like controls the cameras and the computers and things, he also sometimes comments, and I just think their podcast is a lot of fun. The last podcast that I currently listen and watch is the Waveform podcast with MKBHD or Marquez Brownlee and some of his studio members. There's David, Anthony, and two other guys that I can't remember their names right now, but I do enjoy the Waveform podcast. So the thing about the Waveform podcast is that they're talking about tech and like the latest tech news. I feel like I learn a lot about tech through their podcast. Maybe I'm not like an expert in tech at all, but I feel like I'm now up to date on the news about it. I've learned a little bit more about the context of a few things, and even though their podcast is sometimes just like silly times in the news, I just learn extra bits from it. So really enjoy their podcast, and I think it's made me enjoy his channel more because of his podcast. All right, and there are two more things that are my favorites. The first thing, it has to be this giant pillow that I am currently both laying on and am encompassed in. It's the reader's pillow / gaming pillow. I also got another gaming pillow that you kind of, it's like a tabletop. I prefer this one. That other one is really good for the bed that I have in my bedroom, but this one's really good for this bed, but I use it as a couch because it cradles you in the best way. So when I'm not trying to sit up straight for this video, I can slouch into it and it cradles my body so that I'm supported while I'm trying to do sedentary things like reading, video gaming, or watching TV. And I don't get weird cramps or things like that when using this. If I had to pick a single best purchase of 2024, it would be this reading pillow. Like, I'm not even joking. It is so comfortable. It's a little odd at first because you're not used to using a pillow of, of this shape. But once you get used to it, it's just like the best thing ever. So this is really good, especially if you're getting a little bit older like I am. And when you're reading and doing sedentary activities, like your elbows start to hurt or something like that, it does truly help. And the material is really soft. The other thing that I've really been into lately are acrylic organizers. So I have been collecting art supplies for my coloring hobby, and there was this clear caddy that I just had my eyes on in Amazon, and I couldn't get it out of my head. And the reason I couldn't get it out of my head is because it was just so pretty. It was really pretty. Organization videos have been my kryptonite since I got onto TikTok in 2021. All of the clean talk videos, all of the reset organization, all of those have always been like my kryptonite. And something about this in particular caddy has really scratched my brain in the best way because it's clear, it's a nice shape, it's a nice size, and the overall design of it is really beautiful. So I bought it, and it's one of my favorite purchases of 2024, along with all of the other coloring things that I got. Next has to be cosmetics and skincare, body care, all of that. I'm gonna try and speed run through this because this video is getting really long. For lip gloss, I get a lot of questions about my current lip gloss. This one is from the brand Fleeky Friday, and I have 3 different shades from this small business owner. I do believe she is a Black woman and is Black woman, small business owned, and it's just the shiniest, most glistening glitter gloss I've ever used. Only thing I don't like about the packaging is that it doesn't say what shade it is on the bottle anywhere. So whenever I want to recommend this lip gloss to friends, I can't really tell them which shade they're looking at on my lips right now. But I have one of the pink ones on my lips and I really like it. I like all the shades that I've gotten. There's like a pink posh, golden hour. There's a gold one and there are 2 different pink ones that I'm using. The gold one's my favorite, but right now I have on the pink one and they work really nice. I pair it with my Vaseline tubes. So I use the Creme Brulee Vaseline Lip Therapy as my base to keep my lips soft and supple. And then I add a lip gloss and that's usually what I have on. So those are 2 favorites. Always use the Vaseline Lip Therapy. I cannot live without it. If I forget it at home, my day is ruined. Then the Fleeky Friday. The other glitter gloss that I've been loving this year, it's not as shimmery and shiny as the Fleeky Friday, but it's the Stunner lip gloss that is also from TikTok shop like Fleeky Friday. And I do also have this one in 3 shades. I have the like silver one, a pink one, and a chocolate brown one. I use the chocolate brown one the most. It's way more subtle than the Fleeky Friday, but it does give a nice shine and glitter. I hate the applicator. It's more like a nail polish applicator, but it gets the job done. It goes on and it's really cheap. It's like $7.89 a bottle or something like that. So super accessible. I think the Fleeky Fridays are like $12 if I remember correctly. Next, hair care. I have been wearing my hair out of twists for a couple months now, so I've been really focusing on hair oils. My mom mixes up a bottle of hair oil for me once I run out, so probably once a month. She puts things like peppermint oil and probably castor oil, argan oil, and other things that I cannot remember, but she mixes it up. I've been using it on my scalp, and I feel like it's actually helping my hair growth quite a bit. My scalp always feels really refreshed when I use it, and it's been absolutely amazing. I've also been using the Extreme hair gel when I twist my twist, as well as the Shea Moisture curl smoothie for the twist as like my moisturizer. And I think that's been working for me so far. My hair is always soft and I don't feel like it's dried out by the end of the day. It still feels soft and supple. Yeah, it still feels soft and supple, so it's working for me right now. I do need to clip off some dead ends probably still, but we'll get there when we get there for that. And last, for the rest of my body care, I use a soap and a body butter that both my mom make. She makes soap for the whole family and they're scented, but they have like the most beautiful scent. and I am always complimented on how I smell. So the soap and the body butter are both scented, and I pair those together. I also put Vaseline on before I use the body butter. I really like the cocoa butter Vaseline the best. I've been using that. I used to use Lubriderm lotion, but that lotion's really thin. It kind of dries out really quickly. When I moved to Vaseline, I felt like it lasted the entire day. So that's mostly, I'm pretty sure that's my whole body care routine. And then I've been using the Dr. Teal's Epsom salt along with the Walmart Equate bubble bath recently. Oh my God, that is absolute heaven. I feel like I have ascended every single time I take a bubble bath with that combo. And I've used this stuff before. I definitely used it during the pandemic, but recently it just feels like it's like the perfect combo. Now I feel like I've found like the just the right amount of Epsom salt with the bubble bath to make it work for me. And it has just been so luxurious and so calming. But I also feel like because I'm on break right now, that it's like hitting a little bit more than it does when I'm like in the middle of a work week. All right, so that's it for body care and cosmetics. Hello. I realized after I started editing that I forgot a whole category. So I'm gonna try and do this really quickly so that this video is not longer than it already is. So for accessories, I love glasses chains, and I have this really handy bag that I hang in my closet. It has a lot of pouches for earrings and necklaces, and I put my glasses chains and my fun earrings in there. And on the back side, I hang my glasses on there. So I started doing this because one of my favorite glasses chain shops from Etsy, in their instructions it says to keep your chains out of really moisture high areas like the bathroom. So I went ahead and purchased that hanging pouch so that it would protect my glasses chains in the future. And it's worked out pretty nicely. It hangs up like a hanger and I love it. The other item that I didn't mention were lounge sets. I live in lounge sets, especially this year, and especially these Amazon ones. I have 3 of these in the same color, as you will notice, because the other lounge set I'm wearing in this video is literally this one, but in forest green. And then I have it also in a cream color. I have a few others from Walmart, but these Amazon ones are my favorite, especially because they are not crop top like the Walmart ones. The Walmart ones are very comfortable and cozy, but I wish they weren't crop top, and I would love them even more. And my last obsession from 2024 had to be Kindle cases. I got really into decorating my Kindle last year, especially because I reviewed Kindles a lot last year. So my Scribe, my Paperwhite, and then I got the Matcha at the end of 2024. That one was unexpected. I also have a books page and a books Color Go 7. The Color Go 7 was sent to me, so I have 5 e-readers. I just got really into decorating my e-readers last year, so I have a lot of cases. I'm really into this one shop called RME Shop. Her designs are really unique from other cases that I've seen. They have this sort of classical cottagecore whimsy to them that I really like, so they really fit my style, and I will always go to her for e-reader cases. That's all of my 2024 favorites. I hope you enjoyed watching it. Sorry if it was really, really long, but thanks for hanging out with me until the end. Comment down below your 2024 favorites. It could be anything. It could be a favorite TV show, a favorite thing you purchased, just anything. But yeah, thanks for watching.